Hey everybody, KC here. So we're just about to the end of summer. Yeah, we got a couple of weeks left until the official end of summer, but we're about to have the Labor Day weekend, which is sort of when people start thinking about the fall. I'm going to take tomorrow off, have a 4-day Labor Day weekend. So this is it until Tuesday. And I thought this would be a great time to kind of sit down and think about a dozen things I learned this summer. And share them with you. So in no particular order. Number one, I learned at PayPal Park, which is in where the San Jose Earthquakes play. I saw this presentation by Dave Cavell, who's the former president of the San Jose Earthquakes, now the president of the Oakland A's, talking about how they took their best customers, the people who they would normally in most ballparks would be up in luxury suites, and they gave them the seats closest to the action. And I thought that was a great lesson in why if you have your best customers, you want to draw them in, you want to get close to them, you want to put them closer to where things happen, not further away. That way they become advocates, they become proselytizers for you. That's all real good. So that was number one. Number two, vertical farms. I was blown away by a vertical farm outpost that I saw in Northern California by a company called Plenty. And I think vertical farms, whether they're in centralized locations or they're going to be in trailers and retailers' parking lots, they're going to be a really big deal going forward. They're going to be good in terms of dealing with some of the climate change issues that we're facing. And they're also going to be good in terms of sustainability, getting them closer to the retailer, closer to the customer, instead of further away. By the way, real quickly, I'm going to be curating and programming the 3-hour technology innovation track at the National Grocers Association convention in Las Vegas in February. And one of the technologies we're going to be looking at is that kind of technology. So I hope you'll join us. So anyway, number three. I love the Bahamas. Never been to the Bahamas before. We went to the Bahamas for 7 or 8 days. Had a great time. I love the Bahamas. I don't know if I could live there full time, but I don't know, 7, 8, 9 months a year. It sounds pretty good to me. Number four, the importance of brand equity and don't mess with it. And the story that really drove this home for me was when Florida decided to make strawberry shortcake the official state dessert and not key lime pie. Key lime pie is central to the Florida identity, it seems to me. And strawberry shortcake, yeah, they grow strawberries there. All that told me was that, somebody decided the strawberry folks gave more money to a politician than the key lime folks, but it made them not true to what I think is a core identity thing in Florida. So you got to be real, show some allegiance to brand identity. So that's number four. Number five. No such thing as an unassailable business model. Now, I've been talking about this a lot, but it really came home to roost this summer because Netflix is having problems, okay? And the whole idea that suddenly they have become a media company, but not in positive ways, just shows you that for a lot of people, Netflix was unassailable. That's not so true anymore. Amazon dealing with its, maybe they're in day 2 kind of a situation right now. And yet, we know that Amazon, for example, they continue to seem to hit home runs. The new series, Lord of the Rings series that they've got coming out, the reviews I've seen are pretty good. So maybe that'll be a real home run for them. And listen, the fact of the matter is, we saw the statistics. Streaming television, it continues to grow. It's bigger now than cable. Eventually, it's going to be bigger than cable and broadcast combined. That technology is going to continue to grow, but will Netflix be the winner or will it be somebody else? We're still going to see. Again, no such thing as an unassailable business model. Number 6, how important history is. I really thought that, got to thinking about this when I went to Citi Field, and you've got the Tom Seaver statue that's recently been put up there. At Dodger Stadium, they have the Sandy Koufax statue. Companies would be so much better off of the people who work for them. And I'm talking about from the people in the C-suite all the way down to the beggars, really understood the core values and the history of the company. That's something that everybody ought to be taught. Number 7. Hey, I'm gonna say it. Some people are gonna give me a hard time about it. I love California. I continue to love California. I had 3 trips to Northern California this summer, and I just had always had a great time there. Listen, I think that I continue to love San Francisco, okay? And God knows San Francisco's had its issues in the same way the state has had its issues. But you know something? California has been an enormous engine in terms of creativity and innovation. And yet, does California have issues? Absolutely. It's only a state. It is what? Has the sixth largest economy in the world. It may be ungovernable, but they're trying. And whether you're conservative or you're liberal, you ought to root for California to succeed, because as innovative as California is, it tends to spread to the rest of the country. And if California is successful, the country's going to be successful. I continue to love California. Let's see, number eight, donuts. And how donuts could be a differential advantage. This is from one of my trips to California. I went to the Susanville IGA, where they make amazing donuts and start selling them at 5 a.m. And the other part of that is, because there's 3 prisons in the area, they decided to make sure they had an entire selection of donuts ready every morning at 5 a.m. so the prison guards would stop by, get their donuts, get their coffee before going to work, and they're able to build a business on the backs, on the spine of that core business that's never going to go away, because they keep coming up with really, really good donuts that taste great. Tasting great is a terrific differential advantage, and donuts, always a great thing to do. Let's see, number 9. I miss Portland. I continue to, I used to go to Portland every summer. For 8 years, I taught at Portland State University, and with the pandemic and stuff, that sort of went away. I really miss Portland. I miss the Pacific Northwest desperately, and I'm really sad that for 3 years I haven't been able to do it. Maybe next summer I'll get to do it. Let's see, number 10. Never store classified materials in your basement, okay? Number 11, I still like flying. I know the airlines just justifiably get a hard time from a lot of people these days. And one of the things I also learned this summer is you never fly JetBlue. They're awful. But you know something? I still like going to the airport. I still like getting on airplanes. I like going to really interesting places. You know, even with the 2+ years of the pandemic and all the problems the airlines are having right now, that enthusiasm hasn't died, and I'm really happy about that. You know, I went to I didn't even tell you about this on Morning News Beat. So I was in Santa Fe not that long ago, and I was talking to my friend Patrick Spear, and I said, I'm in Santa Fe, and he knew a little bit about Santa Fe, and he has a friend who lives in Santa Fe who told me where I should go to eat. And I went to a place called Del Charro, which is a little saloon. I sit at the bar, I order a margarita. The margarita is fabulous. I'm talking to the bartender, and I said, okay, do I want to have the enchiladas or do I want to have the tacos? And he says, oh, you want to have the enchiladas, because the enchiladas are something we take very, very seriously in Santa Fe. And everybody in the bar, I'm the only person sitting at the bar who doesn't know everybody else. Everybody at the bar says, no, have the enchiladas, have the chicken enchiladas. They're absolutely great. Well, then the bartender says to everybody else at the bar, and he says to them, so do you think we should go local on his ass and insist that he have an egg with it? And they all said, yeah. So I said, of course. Well, man, they were just unbelievable. Blue corn tortillas they were being used, and the chicken and the hatch chilies and the egg on top of it. Absolutely fantastic. And here's the deal. For most of us, if you're not willing to go to the airport, if you're not willing to get on a plane and go someplace maybe you haven't spent a lot of time, those kinds of experiences, those kinds of exchanges are never, ever going to happen. And let's see, number 12. Here's the best thing I learned this summer. No matter what some people say, I haven't lost interest in doing Morning News Beat. And that's good news for me, and I hope it's good news for you. Anyway, that's what's on my mind this morning. I hope you have a great weekend. I'll see you Tuesday. Take care, everybody.